always the issue.
Josh Kalven, what about on the Democratic side? We've passingly talked about Alexei Giannoulias, who's the state treasurer. He's still very young. There were questions about whether he was even ready to become state treasurer. Is he ready to run for governor?
Well, I think he has the ability to raise the money. I think he's putting together, a very impressive record so far as treasurer. He's been making headlines and has been creating a kind of a diverse set of accomplishments. He also has support from Barack Obama, which is depending on whether we're talking about an open seat or whether we're talking about a Blagojevich challenge, depending on what happens in the presidential race, is a pretty considerable ally.
And there we're seeing the spot that Senator Obama did for Giannoulias back when he was running. Let's talk about Senator Obama. If he, perchance, doesn't win the presidency, do you think that he would be considered a gubernatorial candidate? Would that be a step down from the Senate?
I don't think it would be a step down from the Senate, but I don't know if his wife would let him do it after going through this campaign now. And I don't know if he would have the appetite to do it. I mean, this has been a grueling, long campaign for him, and whether he would be willing to, because if he loses the presidential race, he would have to start right away running for governor. I don't know if he would have the...
But certainly making the rounds of Illinois is certainly not making the rounds of the United States, and he's immensely popular in this state. I mean, he's of course a native son, and...
I would guess if he wants it, then he could probably have it. And this might be maybe what the Madigans are waiting to see, that if they want to check out and see what Obama wants to do, because they realize that an Obama versus Lisa Madigan matchup would be pretty divisive and pretty tough, and probably not to her advantage.
Fran Eaton, what about U.S. Attorney Patrick Fitzgerald? Although we don't know what his political standing is.
I don't know what party he would be affiliated with, but of course we know that's where Thompson came from, right? Was from trying to clean up corruption, and we're all looking for those types of personalities out there. And I do actually think that would be fascinating to see if he would, but I don't think he's interested, right?
I have heard from, I know people inside the U.S. Attorney's office, I know people who know him, and every single person says the guy has not a political ambition in his body. He's not particularly partisan.
Draft him.
I don't think he wants to run. I really don't. And I've floated it out there and been smacked down, so I really don't think that's the case.
Josh Kalven, continuing with names that may or may not surface, Dan Hines, another one that could be floating out there.
Dan Hines is certainly a possibility. I mean, to bring it back quickly to Lisa Madigan, who I think would be a very strong candidate. I think she's, putting together a sort of activist, progressive record as Attorney General. I think that her main liability is having her father as Speaker at the same time that she's running. I think there are numerous reasons why that's risky for her.
Now, see, Josh, I said this in 2002. I pounded my shoe on the table and said, the voters are going to react negatively to this. They're not going to have it. It's going to be terrible. I don't think it turned out that way.
I think there's something more unseemly, though, about the Attorney General post and the Speaker post and I mean those two have been at such loggerheads. That sort of consolidation of power that you would see, or that at least the optics.
In 2006.
I think she's shown independence from her father, though, in a way that maybe only a daughter can show from her father. That there are people in state government who, if you didn't know their last names, you'd think they were more related.
But also the other question is, I mean, we've seen from the Clinton campaign how difficult it can be to run for public office when you have a member of your family who's an outspoken political figure. You're constantly having to answer for what they're saying, and
I think she's established her.
That's just if you want to keep ideologically headed in the same direction, and this has not been good for the state as it is headed to larger spending, bigger spending, higher taxes, and all of that. That is where Lisa would have to go, because that's where she sees the answers in government. That is not what we want to do for the state of Illinois. We need to go back to the other way if we want to make a difference. So there will be an ideological difference, and hopefully it'll be a bright, stark difference.
And it's a very blue state, so good luck with that.
Well,
there's also the question of this ethics bill that's pending in Springfield, and it would limit who could contribute to campaigns. Is that going to hamper not only Governor Blagojevich, but perhaps candidates such as yours, Lisa Madigan, to raise money?
It's not my candidate.
Candidates that you're encouraging to run.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm just, as an analyst, I'm saying this is why I think she should run, and I think she's done a good job. But yeah, no, I mean that ethics legislation will clamp down on everyone's fundraising, which I think will be good.
I just need to know, did you consider Illinois a red state for 3 decades while we had 3 gubernatorial, Republican governors?
It was more of a purple
Really?
state, wasn't it?
So it had to be that they were confused, I guess. Okay. All right, I'm just curious, because all of a sudden it became blue.
Well, we have all the constitution.
Well, while you discuss colors, let me throw out one last question in the short amount of time that we have, and that is, if Senator Obama becomes president, who should be his replacement? There's already been talk about perhaps Tammy Duckworth, perhaps even Alexei Giannoulias. Any thoughts on who might get the nod?
Jan Schakowsky's name has been floated out there, and I think Jesse Jackson Jr. is a possibility.
And those would be both easy to knock off, so go for it. Okay.
And who would your ideal candidate be if you had to say, Fran?
Good question. I like Peter Roscom. I think he ought to be in the Senate.
And we'll invite you back when and if that happens. And my thanks to Eric Zorn, Fran Eaton, and Josh Kalven. Now, Phil, back to you.